Kiss for Canada by Emily Carr. Clewick made her first appearance a few days before I was 70. Victoria was astonished at her. Victoria had never approved of my style in painting. When my painting was accepted in the East, few Westerners tolerated it. A smaller number found they actually liked it. Clewick and, a year later, the Book of Small, Victorians took straight to their hearts and loved even before the favorable Eastern reviews appeared. A few days before my 70th birthday, a member of the University Women's Club telephoned me congratulations on Clewick. She said, "Our club would like to honor you in Clewick by having a little tea party for you. Are you well enough? We know how ill you've been, and by the way, have you not a birthday coming pretty soon?" I replied that I had not been out since my illness, but that I thought I could manage it, that it was very kind of them, and that the following Saturday was my 70th birthday. "Then that is the day we'll set for the party," she said. "I'm lending my home for it. Some of the club ladies will call for you." I imagined it would be a gathering of perhaps 6 or, at most, a dozen of the club members. On Saturday I was dressed and waiting when in walked Ira Dilworth. "Ready?" he asked. "I've come to take you to the party." "The University Women's Tea Party? I'm expecting them to pick me up. They promised, so I can't go with you. But how did you know there was to be a party?" "I'm invited. Furthermore, I am going to read out of Clewick. It's a big affair, men as well as women coming to honor you and Clewick." "Oh," I said, "I thought it was only half a dozen ladies and a cup of tea." "It's going to be mammoth. Your townspeople, as many as the house will hold. Don't get scared." "Will there be speeches?" "I should say so." "Will I have to reply?" "I do not think it will be expected of you. They know you have been ill." "It would be very ungracious to say nothing at all. They've been so kind to me and to the book. I'll scribble a few words and, as so often happens, my voice goes. Will you read them for me, Oh, I'm so glad you're going to be there. I'm frightened." "Don't worry, you'll be all right." I scratched a few words on an envelope and clapped it in my spectacle case, and then the ladies came for my sister and me. Our hostess, Mrs. Young, had a big house, large rooms. When I saw them packed with people, I dropped into the first chair inside the front door and wilted. Mrs. Young came and stood beside me protectingly, so that people would not know I had come. After a few moments I got up and took her arm. "I'm ready." She led me into the drawing room and sat me on a pink sofa under a stand lamp. It had commenced to blow and snow outside. Inside all was cozy. My sister was on another sofa across the room, and Mrs. Young saw that she had people about her that she knew. Because my sister is shy and nearly blind, she looked happy, and I made up my mind I was going to enjoy my party to the full. "The Reverend T. Laundrie," Mrs. Young said, "will open the occasion with a short invocation." The Reverend offered a short prayer, and I was glad Mrs. Young had invited God to my party. Then the master of ceremonies came forward, a sheaf of open letters in his hand, letters of congratulations from Victoria's citizens and from the various organizations in my city, good wishes for my birthday and for Clewick. A mailbox had been placed beside my sofa, and I had wondered why. Now I saw that many of the guests carried envelopes. The first letter read was from the lieutenant governor, regretting he was not able to be present, but sending best wishes. Then came letters from the mayor and aldermen, from the University Women's Club, the Canadian Club, the Native Daughters. There was one from the head of Indian Affairs on behalf of himself and the Coast Indians. After the Master of Ceremonies had read that many aloud, men and women representatives from many other organizations in Victoria stepped up to my mailbox, dropped in their society's letters, and shook hands with me. I stood close beside my sofa. If I did not quite know how to act or what to say, he told me. He was strength and comfort as he had been over editing Cleewick. Dear I. He knew the right way, and it made me feel safe. There were such beautiful flowers, bouquets, boxes, corsages, heaped round my sofa. Someone was always coming up with more. It was like having a beautiful funeral, only being very much alive to enjoy it. Such an easy, comfortable party. I found myself having a very good time. After my right hand was nearly shaken off, there were speeches. Lovely things were said about Cleewick. When everybody had said everything there was to say, came a tiny pause. I whispered to I, "Is it my turn now?" I was shaking with fright. He nodded, but when I went to rise, he put his hand on my shoulder and kept me sat. "Sure you can make it?" "Yes," I replied. My voice rang out strong as a bull's, and I was not scared. This is what I said. The envelope is still in my spectacle case. Thank you, everybody, for giving me such a splendid happy birthday party, and for being so kind to Cleewick. I would rather have the goodwill and kind wishes of my hometown, the people I have lived among all my life, than the praise of the whole world. But I did not write Cleewick, as the reviewer said long ago when I went to the West Coast villages painting. I was too busy then, painting from dawn till dark. I wrote Cleewick 1 year ago in the hospital. They said I would not be able to go about painting here and there any more, lugging and tramping. I was sore about it, so as I lay there, I relived the villages of Cleewick. It was easy for my mind to go back to the lovely places. After 50 years, they were as fresh in my mind as they were then, because while I painted, I had lived them deep. I could sail out of the hospital and forget everything. It was Cleewick gave my sick heart courage enough to get better and to go home to the easy life the doctor had told me I had to expect now. "Bravo! You'll be a public speaker yet," whispered I in my ear. Then he took Cleewick in his hands and stood in a central spot to read. When the chairs and sofas were full, people sat round on the floor. I is a beautiful reader. He read Canoe and Juice. Then he talked about several of the longer stories. He commented on Cleewick's place in Canadian literature and how privileged I had been to see Indian people in their own homes and villages. He said by writing Cleewick and by painting our woods, I had made a contribution to Canada's art and literature. I stopped speaking, and the room was very still. So still I was scared. Then everybody began to chatter at once. Praise, praise, praise for Cleewick! I ducked my face into a box of beautiful chrysanthemums and red carnations that the Canadian press had sent me. I did not see or hear I cross the room, but suddenly I was aware of a great kindness there before me, and the kindness stooped and kissed my cheek. It was the proudest moment of Clewick's success when, before them all, I stooped and gave me that kiss for Canada, prouder far than when Clewick won the Governor-General's Medal for Best Non-Fiction for Canada in 1941. The medal looked to me to be made of the same metal as our old cowbell. It is the honor, everyone said. And remember, it's wartime. But the kiss for Canada was made of the pure, real stuff, unadulterable. We had refreshments and a huge lighted birthday cake and grapefruit punch for healths and God save the King. Again I went to stand. Again I's hand kept me down. You are tired enough, he said. Come. And he took my sister and me home to begin my 71st year.